And here we are. I think our first guest. I might release this as our first guest. And what other guest than Nicky Barbs? And Nicky, before we start, we know you have to start the show off with a jazz tip. So Nicky, do you want to do the honors?
Yes, I would say no guts, no glory, no legend, no story.
There you go. Jazz tip of the day. No
There
guts,
you go.
no glory, no legend, no story. Boom.
Oh, it is me. My name is Ray Jazz. I'm a sophomore on the wrestling team. And what I'm looking for in a lady is, a good sense of humor and some nice personality.
Ray Jazz a call. Major decision, 14-4.
Boom.
Yep.
So here we go, Mikey. One of our first guests. We have the legendary, a Castle legend, a Rockland County legend. We got Nicky Barbs. Nicky, how are you doing today, my man?
Good, good. I'm glad I'm here. I'm excited for this podcast. I've been asking for it for a long time. I'm glad to see two good figures leading the way with this podcast. And to be honest, I don't really think I've seen a podcast lately doing as great as you guys are. You know what I'm saying? Not to hype no one up right now.
Oh, thank you. We really appreciate it. We really work hard, right?
Yes, you
Especially
guys
Mike.
do.
Mikey's a workhorse of the podcast industry. Look, he's working his ears off. You can't even see his ears.
Yeah.
They're here. They're here. They're here.
Yep.
But Nicky, I've heard a tremendous amount about you. I mean, the amount of stories, the amount of times your name has popped up in conversation, all the time between like you, Blaze, Nicky Barbs is coming. Nicky Barbs is coming. I might have seen you once or twice too at the castle.
Yes, probably, yeah.
For the viewers that don't know you, can you just give us a quick intro bio, what you're up to, what you've been doing, etc.
Hold on.
Okay,
First, I have to see.
Because this is the first time
I have to see your right hand. How does it look? Is it still?
Yeah. That's retired. I no longer do that, but okay.
Do what? What do you mean the right hand? What do you mean?
That's for Ray to say if he wants to say or whatever.
Back in the day, Nicky Barbs, he only fought people with his right hand. That's it. He didn't.
Legend says it. Legend says it. Okay.
Hold the right hand. What, just to make things even, to even the odds?
The odds. He can only use his right hand. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what.
That's what everyone said. I don't know, but introduction to myself, I guess. How I know Ray. My friend Blaze, we wrestled together in high school. I wrestled for I think 4 years, 5 years. I came into wrestling.
County, right?
Yeah, I came into wrestling in 8th grade. My dad was like, "You're gonna start wrestling." He never wrestled, but he's like, "You're gonna do it because you ain't gonna be no bitch." And I learned out about wrestling. I watched Vision Quest, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Next thing you know, I'm in the halls running, doing stairs, all that wrestling
The
shit.
classic wrestling movie, Vision Quest.
Yup. But I've known Blaze actually. We went to elementary school together, so I've known him for a long time. And then, when he went to NYU, that's where I met Ray and the rest of the Castle guys. And it was always a good time. Always a good time when I was at the Castle. And then we had some nights where it got a little rough and rowdy. But
Yeah. We had a saying at the castle: "Don't be a bogus host." So we always took care of the guys.
yes, exactly. And even when I brought other people there, they would always ask me, "Yo, are they having a party this weekend?" I'm like, But as of right now, I'm just working and just trying to be healthy and live life in a great way, And that's why I came to this podcast to, hear some inspiration, motivation, and talk about life.
Live life to the fullest, as they say, right?
Yes, live life like a legend.
You only live once. Live life like a legend. Let's trademark that one, Mikey. And we were talking before. You just had a career change, didn't you, Nicky?
Yes. I just changed up. I changed up maybe 2 years ago. I was doing paving, construction, road construction. I did that for about 6 years, and
But
then
you were hustling, right? Like you had your own business going, right? Like you were working crazy hours.
yeah. Well, with the paving and stuff, I learned basically from the guys I was working with. I worked with them for about 6 years. young guys. They were almost the same age as me. I basically kind of picked up on what they were doing, and I started working with another guy, and I was basically doing sales mostly, not more of the labor aspect that I was doing before. But I had to switch it up completely. I do the blacktop on the side and paving and all that on the side, but right now I'm actually working at a power plant. 2 years ago, I started another power plant, so that was a whole career change.
Right.
Of going from, you know, labor and road work and paving and all that to now sitting at one place all day in a big facility and learning a whole bunch of other things where your brain's going to explode, so that's.
What are you doing at the power plant, Nicky?
So I am what they call a power plant operator, but my position is operations and maintenance. So I do operating of the plant, turning on machines, equipment, and then also doing like mechanic work there as well.
So if I ever lose power, I can just blame you, right?
Yes. Although, a lot of people don't know that, not all the power plants are online 24/7. There is in the city, they have a whole bunch that have to, just keep putting out power all day. Where I'm at, it's only when they need power. So either when it's really hot or really cold, because, a lot of people, AC during the hot days and then heating during the cold days. But big career change in my life. It's made me have to hit the books hard, because when I was doing the blacktop and stuff, that was just a physical job, wheelbarrow and shoveling, all that hard work. This job's more brain power. So they got me studying like engineering things like that. So it's a big change.
So you really retired that right hand.
Yeah, I retired it. I became a hand model on the side, but don't tell no one.
So Nicky, what compelled you to change careers like this? I mean, that's a pretty big change, not just from, going physical to mental, but then completely different industry as well, too.
I found myself, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I was doing the paving all year round, basically, but during a certain time of the month, months when the winter comes, they don't have work. So they either go down to Florida to work or that's it. And I wasn't going down to Florida to work. So during those times, like during the winter months, I would have to find little odd jobs to keep me. And that was just kind of, bringing me down as who I am as a person, as in like staying busy, but like, am I getting anywhere with it? I have to progress. I want to have some. So I finally said, I got into some, not trouble, but, got into it with the guys I was working with. And I said, you know what, I got to apply to a different job. I was without a job for a little bit, paying rent, which was very hard. And that kind of, it was like, I need to wake up. So
well, everyone has a story like that, right? It's the adversity, right? You either sink or swim, baby, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so me being from, grinding every day, blacktop, and doing this hard labor job and putting these hours on, it kind of, it's kind of like, this is a lifestyle, you got to embrace it. So then I had no job, and I said, I got to apply. This is during COVID too. So it's kind of hard to find a job. So I said, you know what? Let me apply to be on the back of a garbage truck.
Hey, nothing against that. My uncle's been a garbage man for over 25 years.
Some garbage men make a lot of money, man. Make a lot of money.
He's probably union.
Actually, I can't speak about it, but
Oh, okay. How you
doing? He's been on, he's worked for a couple different companies,
Yeah. I've actually did, before I applied to this one, I've actually did it before. And just senior year, I didn't have a job, and my friend Nelson, which he wrestled with me and Blaze too. Blaze knows him. He said, "Oh, I got a job working the back of this truck. You want to help?" I did that for like 3 days in the summer, and I was like, "Dude, these guys are different."
Yeah.
But
he gets up at 2 a.m. and he does the 3 a.m. pickups. It's a crazy life, but it's
Exactly. When I did this job during the COVID, I said, okay, let me just, I got to get some money for rent because I have no money in my bank account. It's bad. Mm-hmm. My mother's living with me. She didn't have a job, so it's kind of the fire's under my ass,
Yeah.
So this is one of my moments in my life where I really was down bad. I'm talking about rock bottom. Like my life is miserable. It's cold. It's wintertime. So I did that job for about 2 weeks so I could get the money to pay rent. Then I quit.
Right.
I'm telling you, I said
Sometimes
it was
that's all you need to do. Yeah.
It was $15 an
Yeah.
hour. It
Yeah.
was not. I'm sorry, but I give it to those guys. So after that is where I applied to a power plant as a laborer, and that's where I started my career in the power plant industry. Now I'm at a different power plant from the experience I gained at that one, and now I'm doing better. So but I tell you, that was the working on the garbage truck. That was a life-changing thing because it woke me up to say, am I really, not that there's anything bad with that, but I said, I think I could do better,
Right. It lit a fire, like you said, lit a fire in your ass,
Yes, really
And
bad.
you need that. You need that. You need to humble yourself sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it was humbling. It was humbling, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked there's only $15 an hour because I know in some places you can get like 6 figures being a garbage man.
Oh, yeah, there was a garbage truck company right up the street. They were not hiring, but they were like $30 an hour, and then they were also union wages too. So they were making, and I was at the $15 an hour, and that was just, you're doing 1,000, you're at like 1,000 cans by like 11 o'clock, and that shit is physical work, hopping in and off. It was just bad,
Yeah.
Plus the weather, rain,
Oh,
snow.
anything, right? You have to do it in anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you, one thing about hard jobs, I've had hard jobs like physical and stuff. If it weren't for wrestling, I don't think I'd be able to embrace, the pain and,
Right.
that wrestling mentality. It's helped me out a lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You can't quit.
And Gable always says, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy, right?
So. Exactly. That is 100% true. 100% true. Even my wrestling coach said that. He said, wrestling's going to help you out later down the line. And it's either with like, something enduring, something that's more than yourself, or you're in a bar fight and you got to do something.
You got to use that right hand, baby.
Yeah. The right hand, yeah. Yep.
Not the left. Not the left.
Yep,
You don't want to see the left.
Yeah, you got to tape that one up. Yep.
Break glass in case of emergency,
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I remember that night.
Do you remember that night?
I remember the night where it ended up bad. Okay. I could tell that story, but I don't know if you want to lead into that type of things, But.
Hey, we're all about embracing life, embracing mistakes. Without mistakes, man, you can't improve, right? You can't go forward. So, worst case scenario, Ray can edit it out. Let's hear the story.
If you want to tell the story, it's basically, I'm not gonna lie, I've had a lot of encounters, I could say, on the rough side of my life. Okay.
Yeah.
Either one, people are gonna be, I'll say it started off as when I was younger. I probably got bullied a little bit. So I had to, at one point I had to say, I'm not going to take this shit no more. And then you could see where that goes. So, but when it came to this story of what happened that night, if I remember, is that I've also been a man who sticks up for others who can't stick up for themselves.
Right. And that's why you're a great friend. Yeah.
So that's what came to, and this has happened many times in high school. I've had bullies, I was getting suspended because I did something to the bully that was bullying my friend who was disabled, actually, not disabled, but he had a disability,
Right.
And people would pick on him. I'd be the guy that, yo, who are you going to pick on him? Like, yo, you want to pick with someone,
Yeah, pick with me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I almost didn't go to prom for that. Whatever. So
who needs prom anyway?
Yeah. So when it comes to this story, I remember we were out at a bar one night in NYU, and there was a bunch of guys on the baseball team.
I've heard about this. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I heard before I got in this place, I heard, watch out, the baseball guys are here.
Oh, baseball guys.
I didn't go to NYU, so I don't know who the fuck these guys are. Mind my friends. Sorry about that. So I'm like, all right, am I supposed to be scared? So there's two guys. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but they weren't the biggest guys. You know what I'm saying? They were wrestlers, but they weren't the biggest guys, So I'm sitting there just minding my business, and I'm with these two guys that are on the wrestling team. We're all friends, And then this kid comes over, and I see him like talking with one of the guys we're with, and they just start getting like an argument. And this guy's like calling them names, just going in. So I like step in, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And the kid's like, and then the one friend was like, "Oh, this kid said this team will beat up the wrestling team." And I'm sitting here like this. Oh, okay, Like, I'm not on the wrestling team, but I know the wrestlers have the advantage over these kids on the other team,
These buffoons.
Yeah, so I say, yeah, all right, buddy. And the kid said, oh, yeah, he starts mouthing off to me heavy. And, after that, it got a little spicy. So that's all I got to say to that.
Yeah, and we'll leave the story like this. The wrestling team was undefeated in New York City. I'll put it like that.
Yep, exactly. I'm not going to say what happened after that night, but let's just say I had one of the members of that team hit me up in the DM or something said that one of the kids was in the hospital that night and that they should have messed with one of the kids, which one of the kids, I guess they were talking about me. And then they found out about someone else. I'm not going to say who it was, but so.
No, that was the last time.
Yeah. So moral of the story, you got to stick up for your people. You got to do it at the right times. When it comes to violence, I'm not really for it no more because I'm getting older and you learn. Maybe when it was that bar scene, all that, yeah, that's cool. But nowadays you'll just end up in a jail cell.
Yeah, but the thing with that situation and other situations, it wasn't like we never initiated or were looking for fights or started it. Everyone always wanted to pick on the wrestling team or pick on, and it's crazy. I'm like, why push the buttons? Like, we're chill guys. We like to have fun. They just push a little bit. And I remember, you go.
The reason they did that is because they knew themselves weren't on the same level. Savagery as the wrestling team. So you have to try to be a man somehow, but you just get kicked down every time, It's just sad,
So. Do you know the origin of this beef, Ray? Or Nicky, do you know what the origin is? Because, I've always heard there's always been issues with the baseball team for whatever reason.
I don't know. They were a brand new team at the time, so they were just trying to prove themselves in the NYU culture.
I felt bad. That's all I got to say. Two of the guys, they should have just stick to their day job. They were good at fighting. That's all I got.
No, and that's how it was, dude. New York City was just a hotbed of just anything. Not only just other sports teams, but other people in the area. And I remember there was a big debate, and I don't know if it's still one now, but some of the wrestlers were on a frat. And Bruce did not like that.
Bruce did not like that whatsoever. Let me tell you.
And in his set, why do you need a frat if you're on the wrestling team? You already got brothers. And I always agreed. And there was a couple of guys on the frat. I go, well, if they could balance it out, then they can. But they can never balance it out.
Nope.
But sometimes you need it. Sometimes there are wrestling frats. I understand that, but. When I like it because other schools have athlete frats, which makes sense because everyone's on the same page. But if you're a wrestler and you're in a frat that doesn't know sports, it's like, well, come on. They were doing events where it was we had tournaments and they were missing tournaments to go to the events. No.
Main focus is on the team effort with your real team and your real brothers, not no side little gig frat. I was never into that frat thing because they start acting like complete jerk-offs, all right? That's exactly what they do.
Look,
I'm sorry.
I'll say this because, I saw both sides in terms of, I had some friends in some of the frats, right? And then, I spoke to Bruce, if you didn't know, I was a manager, Nicky. I
know, yeah.
He was I call it the consigliere.
So I spent a lot of time with Bruce, let me tell you. And we've had a lot of conversations about the frat, and we would go back and forth about it. And I mean, it's up. My thing is that if we were D1, right? If we were a D1 program and we were giving kids scholarships, that's one thing where we could be like, hey, this is almost like a job here, right? We're paying for education, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is we're D3, and that gives the kid more autonomy in terms of what they want to do, right? And if the kid is wrestling and doing the frat, and you're seeing him perform, I don't think you can be, crazy mad. Now, if you want to say, hey, he's not living up to his full potential or exceeding potential, that's fair to say. But at the same time, he's choosing to do wrestling and he's choosing to do the frat.
Right.
You know,
and I agree with you. There's guys that balance it out. Like Pike was in one, but it wasn't like a frat.
yeah,
Sometimes
that was a business frat.
yeah. When you're in Stern, there's business frats, which is completely fine. You know what I mean? And they had their things, but.
Well, I mean, it's like they had some crazy events too. Don't get me wrong. Like when I say crazy, I don't mean like, oh my god, that's what it's like. Yo, you guys really did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's definitely a difference between the social frat and like the business frats.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I know that apparently like some of the other frats, like they like made exceptions for the athletes. It's just a matter of like, you know, did the athlete pursue those options? Did they talk about it? Did they go, hey, I had this tournament, I got to do this for the team. You know, I would love to be part of your frat, but I also got obligations here too.
Yeah. And if they weren't starters, I get it. I understand. And it's funny. I tell a lot of my guys that I coach now, I'm like, if you don't wrestle in college, you're gonna join a frat. I already know it, and they do. They do. Okay. You know, just makes sense. I have nothing against frats.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not against frats. If I never wrestled in college, I probably would have been in one. But you know.
1,000%.
Well, the thing is, I don't tolerate the disrespect and the hazing. I would have not.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah. Me, I didn't go to college, so anytime I seen someone be in a frat, it was always them acting a certain way that they usually don't act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I had a friend that was not in a frat going into college. Then he went into a frat and completely changed him, where I was like, okay, you know, so that's where I see it. But if you could perform in both ends, as in, you know, as an athlete and I guess be a semi-good person in your frat, then good for you. You know?
Well, it's all about who you surround yourself, right? And that's it. Like a lot of times they have to join that to do something in colleges. Like I know at Rutgers, like different frats have mixers with sororities. So if you're not good at talking to girls or spitting game, boom, you have to join the frat.
Yeah. That's probably the only reason I would join one.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
That's all I gotta say about that. Yeah.
So, I can see though, you know, the business one you were talking about, that's probably, you know, you're keeping people that are like-minded individuals like yourself in business. You could probably make connections later down the road. Hey, look where I'm at right now. I'm talking to Ray Jazz, you know, I met him years ago and now I'm doing good, you know?
Yeah, it's about networking, right? And it's all about what you know and who you know, right? So frats are great for networking. So is the wrestling team. That's why we have the Wrestling Business Network. Like it's pretty big in LinkedIn and everything. And it's connecting wrestlers to other wrestlers in the business field, which is amazing. You know, because what other employee would you want than a college wrestler, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. And the thing with wrestlers, you could spot a wrestler, and you know, when you see one. Like I've seen guys, I'm like, oh, did you wrestle? They're like, yeah. You know, just like looking at them or just the way they are, you know. All wrestlers are kind of the same, you know. We all respect each other. Then there's, you know, the ones that you don't get, you know, like, but.
And that's funny that you say that the wrestling look. So I was coaching a kid when I first started at Bridgewater a couple of years ago. I saw this kid in the gym. I'm like, oh man, you a wrestler or something? He goes, no, I play soccer. I go, what? He goes, no, but I want to be an MMA fighter. So I was like, why don't you join the wrestling team? He goes, actually, I will. Signed up that day. And dude, his name's Matt Diaz. He's been grinding ever since. He's actually in boxing. He does boxing now too.
Wow.
He's a senior now, so he had the worst luck ever. He broke his ankle one year, and then he broke his hand the other year. So he didn't get to start, but he would have. He's really good. Hardest worker I've ever seen, man. He grinds. Wow. He reminds me of a young version of me. But he had his first boxing fight during the summer. Because I said, if you want quick feet, you should do boxing. He was a soccer player, so his footwork was good. But, dude, I could see him being like a really good MMA fighter in his future. You know, because, he puts in the full effort. And I think he's going to have a great year this year. But just for me, just being in the gym and just seeing these kids, like me coming up to him and asking him, hey, have you ever thought about wrestling? Like,
awesome.
Yeah. And I tell him, what's the worst that could happen? You get into really great shape. You meet a bunch of, like, great people that'll be your friends for the rest of your life. What's the worst that could happen? It's the winter. Right, you're not going out anywhere in the winter. You're in the gym anyway. It's too cold up here in Jersey and New York, you know.
Wow, no, that was good for you to do that. Wow, you changed his life, maybe, you know.
And that's growing the sport. Everyone thinks they overcomplicate growing the sport of wrestling, right? You need to do this. You need to do that. No, you need to go and just talk to people. Talk to these kids. Show them what it could do for them. You know what I mean? Make it real. Connect with them. You know what I mean? I see too many coaches that aren't relatable to their athletes. I'm like, you got to be relatable to your athletes and have open conversations with them. That way the trust will go both ways. You know what I mean? Like, and they trust me. They tell me what's going on. Because you need all four legs of the table to be stable, you know, not only in school, but in life and in wrestling, right? If something's not working in life, sometimes your school or wrestling affects it. If you had a bad match, guess what? Your parents are going to hear about it and your schoolwork's going to suffer. So you need all those legs on the table completely great. And I had one of these kids that I had mindset coach. He was you know, he was a college kid and he was doing great on the mat, but he always just seemed down like, oh, come on. You can be honest with me. And guess what? It was girl problems, of course. And I explained to them, right? High school relationships never really last, you know, and college relationships, if you're in a relationship in college, it'll
Let
last.
me write this down. Hold on.
Yeah, it'll last 1 year after you graduate. And I tell you that. And I've done my research on all my friends. You know, college relationships never work out. And the golden rule, never pick a college because your girlfriend's going to that. Tell these kids all the time about it.
No. But that's the good thing with you is these kids probably can't connect with the other coaches because they're not as young as you, you know? Like when you see a young guy, you have the good energy, you know, you're Ray Jazz, you got that, you know, that little, you know, swag. The kids probably want to interact with that, and that's why they feel comfortable, you know, talking to you about, you know, personal things, what's going on in their life and that, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, and that's being a leader, right? You gotta know what your army's dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that brings up the thing of you know things when it comes to
You gotta stay away from that.
the work.
Coach, don't you know the golden rule? Always check the tag photos on Instagram.
Yeah, sip of the day. Check the tag photos on Instagram. That's your jazz sip of the day.
What's going on? They can't help. Oh, hey boss, I need help. Oh, I don't know what to tell you, man. You should go look it up.
Figure it out, right?
Figure it out. Yeah.
Like if these kids, like that's why I would do the workouts with them. Like if I'm showing them I could do it 10 times harder, like, oh man, coach is doing it, you know.
Yep. That's exactly. I was at my one job. I was both jobs, the paving and the power plant. I became a work group leader, which is basically you got to lead these guys. And I had like 7 dudes, and you know I could tell them, hey, you go do this, go do that, and shovel and wheelbarrow all night. Would that help? I mean, yeah, I guess, but you know, when you actually do it with them and they see you doing the work, next thing you know, they're doing it like with ease because they're like, oh, he's actually working. You know, this guy ain't slacking. So you got to kind of show, hey, I've been there before. Let me show you how I do it also, you know. So that's always good to be, as a leader, be in the mud with your people and grinding with them, you know.
Right. Be in the mud with them.
Also be behind them, basically watching everything that's going on. You got to see what's going on. And that goes in with you as a coach. You see this kid's acting up maybe a little bit. Okay, let me go talk to him. Oh, this is something behind is going, you know, something's going on at home. He's got girl problems, this, that. That's good with you, you know, coming over them and repairing this little patch in the hull of the ship before it sinks, you know?
Exactly.
Yep.
I like that analogy. It's really good.
I'm not no sailor, but, you know. I've been down
Never
a couple
too late.
times.
It's never too late.
Never too late. You could
too
make
late.
it. We could just buy a ship and just start shipping things going out to sea.
Hey, you got business connections. I got some people to start doing it.
Just do it.
Forget the podcast. We go straight into shipping.
Be deadliest catch times 10. You know.
Yeah.
Start our own show.
With lots of crabs. Wow. So now, Mike, I have a question for you. So let me hear some things about yourself. I want to kind of get to know you also, you know.
So yeah, man. I mean, I was the manager for NYU for 3 years. I started when Ray was a sophomore, no, junior. You know, I was initially just a manager, but then I started working like a lot more closely with Bruce and Corey. I spent like maybe half the time, like, you know, Ray knows I went to a lot of practices. I would say half my time was at the practices. The other half was in the office with Bruce. Some of the other coaches at NYU, like Jose Pina, you know. You know, I went to Stern, got a business degree. I graduated, was working at LIU before last year for 3 years as director of operations and recruiting.
Wow.
And, you know, currently I'm a content strategist, so I'm working on websites where I'm helping them, design what, how it's designed, what words to use to try to increase conversion rates, so getting more people to, purchase memberships, products,
Yeah.
etc.
Yep. Wow. That's good. That's good. That's a good business right now. With tech going on, I know a lot of people are doing that too. Getting businesses to come on, make websites and things like that. That's where when I do my sales for the blacktop, I'm like, I'm kind of doing it through Facebook marketing and stuff like that. But I think what you do, the best is probably websites and things like that.
Well, social media too is huge.
Yeah,
so.
social media. Yeah.
That's what
Dude, Facebook Market is probably really good for that. It's beating Craigslist. You actually could see if the person's real or not, go on their page.
Yeah. I've gotten most of my jobs the past summer. I was doing paving, where I was just selling jobs, and but I had someone I know who had a company, and he would just give me commission off the jobs. But most of my jobs I got were off of Facebook, and it was a little surprising. I was like, wow, this is actually, you had to put some money in for the ads, but
Hey, very entrepreneur Nicky at this point.
Yeah, you gotta spend money to make money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I try to also learn different things, as in learning things about my main job. I want to learn other things about what's going on, in life altogether,
Yeah. I know, I heard, like, I've been reading a lot, like, in terms of, like, these side gigs, side hustles and stuff. And, like, apparently one big thing people have blown off of is TikTok. Because they'll pay money to the TikTok advertising, and that'll guarantee you, number of views. So they push it out to people. And then I know there's, like, one kid that, like, he was, like, from Hawaii, and he would see this, like, $20 product, take out, like, it was, like, a mirror or whatever, right? He would take out the mirror, put in LEDs, put the mirror back in, and then sell that, and he would advertise it on TikTok. And at first it was a little slow. He'd be go even or lose a little money. Then eventually TikTok, like, the algorithm blew him up, and now he's making like $1 million a year, just like a little business out of his parents' house.
I dropped the ball on that. So when TikTok was first a thing, that when I was coaching in middle school, they're like, "Coach, you gotta hop on this TikTok." So they made it for me. Dude, I had all these million views and stuff, and I had all these TikTok had the most followers. I got 16K on TikTok. And now I dropped the ball. Like, the monetizing numbers, the thing for it went up. So I'm like, So I don't use TikTok as much. I just throw old content on it. But I wish I hopped on it sooner.
Ray, it is never too late. We can stay on TikTok. I want this on TikTok. We're going to be advertising out of it.
I put this on TikTok. Yeah.
You should, because I had my own podcast, and I took snippets of my podcast and I put on there, and it got a lot of likes and a lot of views, and people were like, sharing it and things like that. I was like, they're sharing me,
Of course, they want to hear. And are you still doing your podcast, or what's going on with that?
No,
Too busy?
well, the reason people tell me I should get have a podcast, which I had many years ago, but then I remade it with a friend who I'm no longer friends with, but besides the point. But it's just same with you guys, probably more than anything. You got to be consistent, and you have to have good topics, and and change it up. This guy I was with, he was just he wanted to talk about all these things that I know a lot about, but he didn't. So, like, I'd be just talking about current events going on, a whole bunch of things, and this kid would just be sitting there and be like, yeah. And I'm just like, bro, this ain't good,
Yeah.
So maybe I start my own and see what happens.
Well, you could always be a guest. You could always be a guest co-host on this. You have a home here.
I'd love to do it. I think we all have the same, kind of, mindset, kind of, as in what you want to do with this. I think you guys are doing great already, and just keep pumping them out. You got a good balance. You got Ray, and then you got Mike. That's perfect,
Good. Yeah, and then if we get Nicky Barbs once in a while, extra flair, baby.
Let me know,
Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
down.
Yeah, buddy. So I think we wrap it up now. So anything you want to push out? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm really just glad I came to this podcast. I'll make sure that I'm going to advertise it on my end. And whenever you guys want to, get back on about any topic, maybe you guys have a topic you want to talk about with me, or I have something I want to talk with you guys. Maybe we can get together and make it happen. This is only second episode.
Yeah.
You got years to come, man.
Third.
Third episode, but we're just scratching.
Yeah. I mean, Rogan's gonna go down bad after these. There you go. So.
Yeah, man.
That's what I want this to be, something that people go to learn life experiences, mistakes, stories, good things,
Yep, that's what it's all about. Adapt, evolve, and overcome, baby. That's what we're.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
Stay hard and stay humble.
Thanks.
And I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And Michael, it was nice meeting you. Till next time, all right?
Likewise, Nicky.
All right, take care.
Do it. Ray Jazz